Hi, Tara Carbert, the Career Mindset Coach here with video number 2 in the Just a Few Words series. Gotta tell the truth, I've been trying to record this video for days and have not hit the record button even once, because as I sit down and plan for this video, the trip down memory lane brings up a whole mix of emotions. So this one's been really hard, and if nothing else, like, I'm proving to myself that when I fail, I can try and try and try until I get it. So hoping this take is me getting it. This few words is a time in my life I was 15. My memory is arguing with itself, so it was either the first or the second day of high school when these words were spoken to me and changed my life. This video series itself is examples from times in my life where just a few words changed my life, and then just a few words that I turned into a self-belief after that big thing happened. So these few words were followed by a knock on the door of my first period class in high school, and behind the door was a guidance counselor calling my name. At first I didn't think anything big deal, right? It's like first couple days of school, maybe there's a screw up in my schedule. And then I saw the look on her face, and she said, "Your grandpa died." Those words hit me like a ton of bricks. My grandpa and I were super tight. I had a big relationship with my grandpa. He filled the male role model gap, if you will, between when my biological father committed suicide and when my mom married the man I came to call Dad for the rest of my life. And Grandpa was like the one person who was super contradictory to this belief I had kind of developed because of learning about my dad's suicide. I had this, I didn't matter, I wasn't enough, I'm not lovable, like all those thoughts were kind of questions in my mind, like, did I matter? But Grandpa was like the person, like unwavering love, unconditional love. Like it's been kind of fun going down memory lane and remembering like how much he loved me. I could do no wrong in this man's eyes. Like if I'd screw up, he'd be like, "Yeah, people screw up." And when I did good stuff, he was my biggest champion. The A's, the winning the spelling bee, the making sports teams, all of it. He was like celebrating every little itty bitty win I had in my life, like the loudest cheerleader what you can possibly imagine. And he also spent a ton of quality time with me. And anytime I had a day off of school, or during the summer when there was just a little bit more free time, he would come and pick me up, and we'd go shopping, or we'd go to a movie, or he'd drag me to his favorite watering hole to hang out with his war buddies, and we would play poker and blackjack and bucket point cribbage at the VFW or the Legion or a local spot called Bunnies. And I just like look back on it, it's like, this guy, like I could do no wrong in this man's eyes. And he undoubtedly like contradicted this thought of I don't matter or I'm not lovable, because here he was like showing me I mattered and that I was lovable like all the time. And of course my parents did that too, but not anywhere near the level Grandpa did. And he'd had a stroke about 6 months before this. Like, I was riding my bicycle to see him regularly, and at some point he went from engaging in his physical therapy and speech therapy and occupational therapy to suddenly being really angry and frustrated. And it wasn't long after that shift in his own response to us coming to visit, or me coming to visit, that he passed away. And I can look back on this time in my life now, and I can see, my mom did the best she could. My grandma did the best she could. My dad, my sister, my siblings, my friends, they all did the best that they could with what I was experiencing. But this was a window of my life where I really felt like invisible. And Grandpa was someone who cared so much that after he died, I started to have these few words running through my brain. No one cares. And when we think something and we look over and over to prove that true, which is just what our brains do, we will find proof, right? And I found proof that no one cared. And then I found proof that people cared when I was bad. And I began acting out telltale signs of a troubled teen. I changed my friend group. My straight A marks started to dip into the B and C range, though I'm capable of A-level work if I want it. I started dabbling in deviant behaviors of sneaking out. Not that I'd never done that before, but sneaking out, throwing parties, hanging out with people who were using drugs and smoking and drinking, and not attending my youth group or my church group activities anymore. Bible studies are going less and less and less to them. Big shift in my life at that point. And what was definitely true is when I screwed up, people noticed. Then they cared. So it just perpetuated this, like, no one cares. Oh, they care if I'm bad. And I kept making bad decisions, and then I'd get the attention that I must have been craving. And obviously at 15, 16, you don't have the self-awareness that I can have looking in the rear view at this time in my life. But I know even as an adult, I really struggled with this no one cares thought. It had rooted, and it was a belief. And I had to transition out of it to get to where I am today. And today, I believe there's a lot of people who care. Like, complete strangers care. And I believe that with all of my heart. And I see evidence of it every day. And it didn't happen like overnight. I didn't leap from no one cares to so many people care. But there was a transition period. So I'd love to help you make that transition if that's a place where you're sitting today. But I recognize that you may not want my help. If you do, you can find out, what I offer at thecareermindsetcoach.com. If you don't, I want you to take some comfort in knowing you can transition on your own. You can coach yourself through this. So, baby step out of no one cares by telling yourself things that you believe. And my first transitional thought, I would call it, or the first baby step away from no one cares was, well, some people care. Because there were some people who cared, right? There were some teachers who cared. There were some coaches who cared. There were some employers who cared. There were some bosses who cared. There were some coworkers who cared. And the more I looked at who cared, the more I saw who cared. So, if you're struggling with thinking no one cares, please know I give a damn, and there's a lot of people in the world who do. And if you want to walk on a journey of self-belief and better understand how some of the things you might be believing about yourself could be limiting the results that you're getting in your life, I'd love to help. Thanks for listening. Have an awesome day.